song that's never been heard. How do you know when you hear the call? What do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball, 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 cannonball. It's not what you do, it's how you do. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, it's just a matter of style. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can make it. Move 'em out, let 'em roll, from sea to shining sea. Ball, cannonball. What do you do when the mountain is there? How do you answer the challenging day? And when your back's against the wall, what do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball, 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 cannonball. It's not what you do, it's how you do. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, it's just a matter of style. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can make it. Move 'em out, let 'em roll, from sea to shining sea.
Yes, indeed. Good afternoon, morning, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. This is the Apex Online Racing F1 2017 Season 14, Round 14 here at the Marina Bay Circuit in Singapore. My name is King-Kodiak and I will be one of your commentators throughout this evening's race. Joining me in the commentary box is the lovely, the wonderful Mr. Hamish Sopwith.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. Wherever you are in the world, this is going to be an exciting race. It's the longest race by time on the calendar. We can also often have a few throwbacks with weather. We'll often find it's raining in this part of the world, so who knows what is going to become of this race, but we'll find out in about an hour and a half.
That we will. We have got almost everybody out on track. 18 drivers have graced us with their presence this evening. I cannot wait. I have been reliably informed it is going to be bone dry. So that, I'm sure it's a relief to the drivers, because
I bet
this place is particularly unforgiving when it comes to walls and mistakes. We saw a 1:37.4 as the pole time yesterday in the sprint series, so, and that was by ACR Timp, who is in this particular league, so expecting a similar again. Ooh, can't wait, but then I usually am rather hyped up when it comes to AOR races in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned we've got David Greco. Now, interestingly, David Greco has two sort of things he's really known for. First one is esports. He was part of esports. He's a massive sim racer. He races on FSR, which is a league which is like on R Factor. He also developed the handling model for Codemasters from F1, I believe, 2014 and onwards. And even for this game, so is that going to give him the advantage around here? Well, we will find out, but he's certainly a very talented driver nonetheless.
He sits in the Williams this evening, taking place of Raven, who's not able to join us. So we will look forward to see how he performs against the talent that we have got in the top split, and that is all 18 cars on this very, very busy track. 23 turns. Pretty much everyone's going to be one of the ultra soft tyres to start with, but they die very, very quickly, is what we saw yesterday in the sprint series. We were seeing pit stops as early as lap 4, and we will see if anybody is able to stretch them out. We saw a few people trying a few different things in the sprint leagues, but as I say, the ultra soft just were not. They were good to get off the line, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, the tyres around here are naturally go off very quickly. I wonder if we're going to see any two-stops. If the drivers go on to, looks like Danny's set a time, 36.6, which is pretty quick, isn't it?
That's exceedingly quick. That's nearly a second quicker than the time I just mentioned. So, thanks, Danny.
Wow, that was... Well, I mean... Flipping out, I think our potential pole time is pretty inaccurate. So
he's just
Kodiak
blew that out of the water. Oh, well,
I mean, Brendon Leigh is also just look how close he is under a 10th.
Look at that! Very, very nice. Let's see if we can get. There we go. That's the one I wanted. 87,000 separating FormulaDani and Brendon Leigh at the moment, and that is why FormulaDani is our current championship leader. Currently sat at 204 points. He only leads by 8, to be fair, over Tim. But Topa with his 3-win streak. Where is he? He's in third
20 points behind. I mean, he is
stormed
very close.
Yeah, absolutely.
So apologies, he's not 20 points behind. He's 28 points behind. But remember,
he's 20 points behind Tim.
That gap just a few races ago was about 50. So, you know, with a bit of bad luck from Danny, because, I mean, Danny's talent, he hasn't been doing brilliantly, nor has Tim. They've got 5ths, 4ths, 8ths, and a couple of seconds as well. But in the last few races, that's not brilliant for those drivers, because they expect to be on the podium almost every single round, as they had been up until Singapore.
Oh, Danny's done it again. 36.4. He's taken 2 more tenths out of that time.
His tyres could be dying.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the race start, because he's just did 2 solid flying laps.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a good point. So those tyres are going to be utterly sponged by now.
Oh! Wow, look at that, a 36.3 from Sven. He absolutely nailed the last corner. He's just...
And then flew off.
Doing a lap after that, because that's a pretty exciting line, I must admit. But he absolutely flew out of the last corner. He nailed it.
I bet you I know what he was doing. He probably took his wheels off the hand and was doing. You know when you clasp your hand, you clasp your hands together and just shake them above your head. That's probably what he was doing in celebration of that lap. 36.3. What a stunner! Brendon Leigh has come in. Marcel Kiefer currently 4th with a. If I can get the correct. There we go, with a 136.8 for him. F.Donoso 136.8 as well. So he's had some terrible luck since joining our league. He did manage to finish for the first time in the last 4 races last time out, but still out of the points. Whoops, as that's Sven cutting another corner, but he's on his way back to the pits anyway. Topa, let's see if he's able to continue his winning streak. He currently starts 6th. Now pole or someone near the front is going to be absolutely crucial here, so that puts Sven in a very commanding position if, of course, no one topples him off the top. ACR Nobody's 7, ACR Fader 8, Non-Runner 9, ACR Tim rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you mentioned Timp yesterday. He obviously got pole with that 37.4. Well, he's currently sat on pretty much a 37.5. So is he able... Do you think that's his ultimate pace? I wouldn't have thought so, because he's in a huge championship fight, and if his opponent in, you know, Topa and Danny are up in 6th, and, well, I assume Topa can improve on 6th, but if they're up in 6th and 7th, then that's a pretty major blow to... one of our championship contenders.
It is true, but I mean, I'm basing my comparison off the sprint series yesterday, which is of course done on this track, so that's where my comparison is based there. It was a one-shot qualifying, so not all drivers just get out and smash it like a la Sven.
Okay.
So it is just a one-shot qualifying, so they're out, 1 lap and done. So most people, to be fair, need at least 2, possibly 3 laps, depending on their driving style on the track and what have you. Fizzy, let's hopefully he's a bit more rested than he was last time. He'd just taken part in the 24-hour Daytona race before last week's race, and still took part in the Monza Grand Prix. So
that deserved a point on its own, I think.
It did.
He wasn't awarded one, but that did deserve a point on its own.
Absolutely,
I mean, he was up for the best part of 42 hours or something like that on that day. I mean, good God.
Yeah, I'm way too old for that kind of shenanigan. 3 cars yet to set a time. That is Car Renegade, who's currently in the pits, Rico Gordon and Slick.
Yeah, Car Renegade, he's obviously racing for, if I can find
He's
his
in the
name.
Ferrari?
He's in the Ferrari, yeah, and Ferrari need a little bit of help because they're currently stuck in 9th from the constructors and not really going anywhere.
They've been struggling all season long, unfortunately. They've had a few driver changes like most people. It's Car Renegade, as you can see, is out on track along with Rico Gordon. So both Ferraris out on track at the moment, along with Slick in the McLaren. People now coming out to have another crack. Now, interesting, Svensson is out again. Even without 36.3, he feels the need to come out again, and it wouldn't be surprising if he has strapped on another set of those ultra soft tyres. But these are not good race tyres, so I guess you may as well burn the best out of them in quali to get that decent quali position. Yeah,
absolutely. These tyres aren't good in the race at all at any point, unless you're literally doing a splash and dash over for the last 5 laps, because they simply, like you say, they don't last. So, you know, Sven and Danny are quite close. I think Danny could be looking for pole. However, Brendon, he's almost like, you know, he's put 3 behind FormulaDani, and there's been a bit of an incident in sector 3.
It's Rico Gordon. He's hit something. Where is he? Now that, we saw a lot of that. That is the exit of turn 8, I think. It's turn 7 or 8. It's difficult to tell from that. Oh, it must be turn 8 because that's a right-hand corner. We saw a lot of people skewing off onto that exit road, along with the exit road of turn 14, which, if anybody remembers, where Michael Schumacher came to blows with somebody in, I want to say it was 2014, but I can't remember exactly, in the Mercedes. And he ended up going down that particular escape road as well. I also think it was when Lewis Hamilton parked his car one year.
Yes, I think you might be right. I seem to remember that.
Everyone's coming out.
First race.
I think you might be right. First race is in Singapore. Yeah. Not first race into Korea. That was a few years ago now. So everybody is either out on track or coming out on track again. And just had a shuffle near the top. It was Marcel Kiefer, I think, dethroning. No, it was Timp! Look at that! Third position for the Toro Rosso. And he's backed off, so that is the best he's going to be able to do, as we've got 40 seconds left on the clock. Bang! He is really
right up there.
Got towards the business end of the grid.
It's now Topa who needs to be careful. He's literally just started his flying lap. He needs to somehow find a good 0.4 of a second. Whether he's going to be able to do that, only time will tell. He's got a driver ahead of me, ahead of him.
Again.
I can't quite work out. Just coming down the main straight. I think it could be a Red Bull. Can't
tell either, because on board with Topar as he is heading down towards turn 7. There we go, nice and clean there.
Super difficult, this hairpin now. I mean, you don't want to, well, I say hairpin, but 90-degree right.
It's a near enough hairpin, isn't it? Yeah.
You're so close to the walls at all time. In this sector, this used to be super difficult. You used to have to go over those, that super quick chicane, which is now sort of a chicane, but it's very much high speed.
36 dead! Wow. Sorry, Hamish, 36 dead by FormulaDani. We're actually riding on board with Topaz just as he's gone very, very deep into turn 13.
Wow.
Whoa, good God, that's a statement of intent. Let's see if Topar has an answer to that. He's 36.9, down at 7th now in the Mercedes. So now through 14, left-hand kink of 15, which is near non-existent. Heavy braking again for 16, now a very technical section. 17, throw it to the left, keep it very close to the wall.
He's had a super good lap.
Yeah,
in fact, Topa's on a potential pole lap.
Might we see a 35? If that is the case, or have you just cursed him, Hamish? He will be. He will want to kill you.
Last corner, get it in. He tapped the wall on the outside. There's an issue in sector 3, and he's got a 36.
36. No, it was invalid. Oh no!
No.
Oh no,
it allowed.
Oh, it was allowed.
36-2.
It just took a while. 36-2 then, yeah, absolutely. So that sticks him third on the grid. Yeah, that was Timp that had a argument with something. Unfortunately, we didn't catch him in time to see what it was. Is anybody still on a lap? Failer is still on a lap along with...
Kalon.
Yeah, Failer and Kalon.
Finished. Oh, solid from Kalon. He's put
10th.
himself in P10. It's not often that we say it's... the 8th place is outside of a second.
Yeah.
Which usually we have the top 10 within a second. We don't this time around. It is a very long technical track. I mean, it's one of the longest on the calendar. So, you know, it does take a little while for the drivers to get around.
Yeah, Failer was just cruising towards the end, so he wouldn't have improved that. Guys in the stream, if you're able to tell me if there is any kind of FPS drop, that would be appreciated because I have had some difficulties. And here is the confirmed starter grid. Mr. Hamish, take it away.
FormulaDani, a 36 flat. What a lap time. 2 tenths ahead of his contender, Brendon Leigh. Head of Topar, he's trying to close in on the top 2 of the championship. Sven Zerner, he's 0.2 behind. Marcel Kiefer, ACR Timp, RC Fab Racer. That's one of his best qualifying results in a while. He hasn't been doing too brilliant lately. Non-runner, Slick, and Kalon round out your top 10. With David Greco for debut in 12th is pretty solid.
Not a bad effort, and if you're going to be cautious anywhere, I guess it would be here at Singapore.
Yeah,
you want to see the checkered flag at best. Right, now.
In season, I attempt to say season 10 or 9 on F1 2013, I was racing around here in the wet, and my tyres, I was doing really well. I was in P2. The lead had just crashed out, and I got the lead, and this was in full wet tyres, and I just buried it in the wall. There's nothing worse than doing that around here, but it's so easy. So I think, like Monaco, on the driver's minds is just keep it clean. That's all you need to do. Keep it clean. You need some pace, obviously, but as long as they're clean, then that's pretty much half the job done.
Consistency is almost always going to be more important than outright pace. You can be the quickest on the track, but if you keep bouncing off the wall and need to pit every 5 minutes, it's not going to do you any good. Right, down to the grid. 3, 4, 5. Wind them up and let them go. Can Brendon do it? Brendon's had a pretty decent start. That's Topar's had a very good start in keeping the pressure on the Haas. Then Brendon's forcing the Haas very wide. Coming through turns 1 and 2. Can Brendon in the Red Bull get the lead? Topar already sticking his nose in there trying to get the lead. This is going to be the best opportunity anybody has had. It's going to have, rather, to try and get up there. FormulaDani just manages to fend Brendon off.
Brendon's going around the outside as well as Sven Zerner. Brendon is now P4.
Wow!
Looks like Marcel Kiefer's having some screen freezes because his car's lagging all over. They're all off the road. FormulaDani leading this train at the moment. They're about
contact!
3 wide in some places.
Brendon got squashed in between the Mercedes and the Renault. That's going to give... It's impossible to keep up with everything at the moment. Topar has managed to stay in second position with Brendon. I would imagine Brendon has got a bit of damage as a result of that in, but Topar was challenging for the lead. Couldn't quite get the pace he needed, get the traction he needed rather, to get past the Haas. And poor Brendon got squashed in the middle of that. Now they're going to start settling into a rhythm, but Brendon is right on Topar's case. Marcel not too far behind. Sven is down in 5th position. Terrible start for the Renaulters. That's a big lock-up then for Brendon coming into... been that excited I've completely lost track of what corner we're up to.
Wow, Tim's just got an absolutely awesome move on the Renault of non-run around the outside of turn, if I can find it, turn 17.
Absolutely. So then FormulaDani has got a 1.5 second lead, and he will be praying for that and hoping that he can maintain it. Now Topar beginning to break away from Brendon Leigh. I wouldn't be at all surprised if there's a little bit of damage on that Red Bull. We have a pitter already. It's Slick in the McLaren. Oh, what a shame. We saw a ton of front wing changes last night. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if there's quite a few going on tonight as Topar then tries to fend off Brendon. There's a bit of a gap there, about half a second give or take. Marcel Kiefer is looming there in the background, but he's got a bit of a gap to close down before he starts to pressure Brendon again. There's Sven Zerner with Timp all over his diffuser. with non-runner not too far back. The field is beginning to spread out. We've got some fighting further down. David Greco is now up to 10th position, just dethroned Kalon from that particular spot. Oh, that's a heck of a train going on there, right behind David Greco.
Yes, it is a bit. It's interesting because Car Renegade in the Ferrari looks like he's got front wing damage on the right-hand side. Oh gosh, that really showed well.
Yeah, he couldn't get down on the road.
Sorry to interrupt again, Kodiak. Fab Racer in Force India, he had some issues at the start. He went from 8th down to last place by the first corner, so he had some major issues.
Ouch. Not good then. Back up to the front. And 1.7 is the lead that FormulaDani has for himself. There he is in the bottom of the shot. Brendon, he's keeping pace with Topar then. Just half a second between the two. They've built up nearly a second gap between himself and Marcel Kiefer now. So Marcel runs the danger of not having DRS. When that comes out, Sven actually faces the same problem. He's nearly outside of DRS range. Timp, however, has most certainly got that DRS striking distance to himself on the Renault ahead of him. And DRS is now on, so... Our DRS has now been enabled, so next time they hit the DRS detection zone, that is going to be when... Oh, Kalon is now dropped right the way down to 17. That will be why. Oh, goodness me. He couldn't slow it down enough to avoid a penalty. I would be very surprised if he doesn't change that front wing. He's been falling through the field pretty badly, and yep, there's a nose waiting to go on. So nose number 2 of the race on lap 3.
Yeah, FormulaDani, he's pulling away from Topa still, not as fast as he was on the first couple of laps. However, Timp all the way down in P6, that is not the position he wants to be in. He's got Sven ahead of him, so he's going to need to think tactics.
Brendon, bounce off the wall! Sorry, it looked like Brendon bounced off the wall there a bit. He may lose a little bit of time on Topaz. It's impossible not to kind of cut over one another with the actors this hard, isn't it?
I know. It is, especially in Singapore. Like, you know, hitting the wall is we don't often commentate around street circuits. I think it's only the third street race we've commented on this season, as in street circuit, as in Monaco, Canada, and this. They all have the same kind of
sorry, Hamish, something has just completely put me off. This is highly unprofessional of me. I wholeheartedly apologise. But there is a comment I've just seen in chat that has just made me giggle. Obviously, Alan has not been able to commentate tonight for PS4, which is a great shame. And Diallo's just said, can't imagine anyone doing better. Brendon!
Brendon Leigh! He's just been terminated by the wall on turn 22. Oh dear.
He's still going, but yeah, he just descended very quickly then.
Front wing damage, major front wing damage. In fact, his front left is off.
And we've lost Slick. We've lost Slick. He's gone. He's actually back in the pits as well. So what made me giggle then was Diallo saying, can't imagine anyone doing better than BK and Hamish. That is fabulous, especially with my love of food. That is brilliant. Love that comment. I wholeheartedly apologise. It was very unprofessional of me to suddenly burst out laughing like that. That comment just made me laugh there. That has made my night, sir. Thank you.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, Brendon again!
What a move on Brendon Leigh, braking like an absolute bug. Brendon just drove him into the wall.
Yeah, is that Timp? That's Timp! Oh no, he got caught. So he had to reverse. Yeah. Timp is fallen down to 9th. What a complete anarchy. Brendon is falling down to 5th again. He's lost. Surely that's going to be... Yeah, there's a big chunk of front wing missing on that Red Bull. Brendon will not be happy. I imagine Sven will be even more unhappy as the event's gone on. Look at the left-hand side of that front wing. That is missing quite crucial parts, especially here.
Sorry, Kodiak, saying that, I think Sven's front wing on the right-hand side, you can see he's actually missing 1 or 2 end plates, so that's going to affect him a little bit as well. So will he have a front wing change? Timp, I'm wondering if his teammate Failer will let him pass, as he is much higher up in the... what am I talking about?
I was going to say that, not the same team, sir. At range, they do look the same. I will give you that much. The Sauber and the Soros at range do look very similar. Because I have...
Rub it in a bit more.
And Brendon cannot keep it on the road. Bouncing wheels with Sven. They crossed swords before. They had a...
You know what? Sorry, Kodiak. I'm pretty sure Sven was trying to get into the pits, which is why it looked like he was driving Brendon into the wall.
Yeah, Timp is in. Timp has come into the wall with yellow flag in sector 2. That'll be a front wing change. You can actually see the elements missing on the left-hand side of Tim's nose. And Gar Renegade's got himself a penalty. We saw quite a lot of those as well. Non-runner up to 4th then in the Renault. He'll be very happy about that. But Brendon is falling through the field. He will be furious at that.
Yeah, he will be. I mean, Sven and Brendon seem to have been having a couple of issues over the last couple of laps. They were very close in the F1 esports, and they're very close now at Singapore. Will that continue? Although there are a couple of drivers in between. In fact, Failer's done quite well. He's been able to make quite a lot of progress in the last couple of laps.
ACR, nobody is actually strange sentence. Nobody is pressuring Sen Turner. It's always a very weird sentence to say, but nobody is on the super soft tyres apparently.
Yes, he is. I'm wondering if he can't have pitted. Is he outside the top 10? Maybe.
Let's just double check.
I think he was outside.
No one. Well, I'd say Tim, Kalon, and Slick were the only ones that have been through the pits, so he started on those tyres. So that is why he's able to maintain the distance, because about now is when the ultras start to really die.
Yeah, from memory, lap 5 was always like sort of a cut-off point. So I think Tim having to come in when he did wasn't that much of a disaster. He probably is going to get a little bit of an undercut. Now, if we just by memory, Tim was behind Failer, so it'll be interesting to see if they swap positions as Failer comes into the pit.
Brendon is in, which is probably something he wanted to do a lap or so ago, as my sound is playing up, unfortunately. I did actually lose sound yesterday. I hope I don't get it. Soft tyres, or ultra soft tyres. Again, the game doesn't know which is actually going on. Which is going on that? No, wrong thing. Brendon has got soft tyres. I didn't expect to see the yellow marked soft tyres. The car Renegade also comes in. And ultra soft tyres on the Ferrari. Now, I did not expect to see those softs come out, because we didn't see them. But then he's probably looking to go to the end. I doubt the super softs would go this long to the end of the race, surely.
No, again, yeah, I definitely wouldn't have thought so. I mean, the maximum you could get out of super soft, maybe 15 laps. Soft tyres, well, I imagine you can sort of put them on whenever, and they should last. But if Brendon has a pace, he's not having a brilliant race. He hasn't had a brilliant race up until this point. He is in the clear air now, so he might just be able to get those tyres to work for him until the end.
FormulaDani leads then by just shy of 3 seconds over Topar. So Topar again having another stonker. We'll see if FormulaDani makes a mistake. That could be another win as Slick leaves the session. I can understand that. Marcel Kiefer. A good solid position for him. It's in his second race of the season since joining us. 5.6 down then to Non-Runner, who's I think it's one of his best. Would be one of his, if everyone finished where they are now, would be one of his best finishes. Oops, as F.Donoso gives himself a penalty. Sven Cerner then in 5th after his earlier altercations has not come in. Has still chosen to continue, which I'm a little surprised at. That the ultra soft runners are going this long. ACR Nobody, the lead of the super soft runners, as we can see here in 6th position, with ACR Failure directly behind him. It's going to be a very intense 3-car train there. David Greco in his first race, now up to 8th position, still hasn't pitted on those ultra soft tyres, so he's having a good day in the Williams, with Max in 9th and F.Donoso down there in 10th position.
Yeah, a couple of people in chat are saying about Sven and Brandon. They are fiery drivers. They are both, as you guys have been saying, they're both in the esports finalists as well. And also in AOR, they joined this split at around the same sort of time. I think it was
one race apart.
Monaco, Azerbaijan, something like that. So they are very much competing. You know, they've been here pretty much the same amount of time. So they are very much competing for the end goal.
Sorry, Hamish. Sven bounced off the wall coming through on the exit of 12 as they come down this long straight. Then it's the only long straight, really. It's the only decent straight, except for the start finish, that this track has. But I mean, he bounced, square onto the barrier, so it wouldn't have lost him a great deal of time, and hopefully no more bits of car.
Yeah, hopefully. As you're just talking about the straight, the longest straight is that second DRS zone. It's 832 meters long, so that's a good chance of overtaking coming into turn 7. If you're late on the brakes, Sven is coming into the pits now. I imagine He's going to put on super soft tyres, and will he have his front wing change?
Oh, we've lost Kalon. Yeah, I thought I saw Kalon having trouble. He's actually chosen to retire the car. His car's just come into the pits, so he has chosen to call it a day. Sven is going to go for super softs, it would look like.
Front wing change as well. That's going to add a little bit of time to his pit stop. Now, will Brendon Leigh come out ahead of him? It's going to be pretty close, I think.
No, I would think Sven's going to have that one because Brendan's just coming into the last couple of turns. Yeah, so Sven's going to leave the pitch. You can just see Brendon in the background of the shot there on the left. Timp's just snuck through ahead of Sven, which again Sven probably won't be too best pleased with. But Timp will probably be very happy about that. He's managed to overcome one of his main rivals for the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Failer in P6, he's doing a pretty solid effort on those super soft compound tyres. Driver ahead of him as well, ACR Nobody. He is also on the super soft compound tyres. Then ahead of him, you've got non-runner Marcel Kiefer and Topa and Danny. All of them have yet to pit.
Yeah, so basically anyone on the Ultra Soft, with the exception of Carl Renegade, who's opted to go back onto the Ultra Softs, I'm very surprised to see. Oh, we've lost Fizzy. Oh dear, Fizzy was in 11th. And Kalon, oh well, Kalon had already retired. So Fizzy has got himself a technical issue of some kind. His car will continue as F.Donoso gets himself another penalty. Unfortunately, Fabrizio does seem to gain those on a fairly regular basis. I can't believe the Ultra Soft runners are going this long.
I know, 9 laps, that's an unbelievable amount of time to be able to run the tyres. I mean, just as a bit of a comparison, Danny's lap times have been within literally about, he's not really losing much time. He's on lap 4, instead of 41.3, he is now on a 41.8 for lap 8.
Well, I guess if you've still got the pace, then why not, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. If a track is cooler, I don't know if it makes a huge amount of difference in this game, but if a track is cooler, it'll also allow the tyres to go a little bit longer as well.
Absolutely. So we will see then as FormulaDani continues to weave his way through the circuit. Oh, every time they do... Oops, that's not what I meant to do. I've got a problem. There we go. That's better. Apologies for that. My pause menu popped up then, which was strange because I didn't press anything. So, seeing FormulaDani then, I was just kind of curious to see if he is going to pit to get rid of those ultra soft tyres. As we see Fizzy lose another position, but of course he is ghosted at the moment.
Well, he's still creating a gap. He's 3.5 ahead of Topar now, and Topar doesn't seem to have a pace. I don't think Topar has any wing damage. It doesn't look like it. FormulaDani definitely hasn't, because he hasn't had to contend with anyone. And he stays out for another lap. So is Topar going to come in, try and get an undercut? No, he isn't.
But then we've seen this before where people... Marcel Kiefer's in. So he's getting his pit stop out of the way. Now, we've seen this before where some people just seem to work better on some tyres than others. It could be that the guys that are running the Ultra Soft don't want to switch to the Super Soft just yet. What was that?
Interesting. Kiefer's gone for the same strategy as Brendon Leigh, and he is on the soft compound.
Fair enough. I mean, if he feels he can make it work, then why not, I suppose. David Greco's now up to 6th, and again, he's on those Ultra Softs, still has not come in. ACR Nobody in 4th, Fader 5 on those Super Softs. They're still fairly close. They've been in their battle for quite a few laps now, as the field is relatively spaced out with the exception of jumping down to 12th, Sven Zerner and Timp. Oh, Sven Zerner right with ACR Timp. Then this is for 12th, so not points yet, but of course they are expecting a lot of people, well, they're expecting they will have a lot of people ahead of them to come in, as Sven then lines up a move and they're coming to the inside. For that turn, is he going to be able to do the move before they get to the braking zone? Just about! Very, very close, but very cleanly done then by the Renault.
Yeah, interestingly, you probably haven't noticed, but David Greco and Max are on the same fuel strategy. They both have -2 laps of fuel, which is quite considerable.
Wow.
It's not something we often see. We almost always see drivers with +2 laps of fuel, not minus. So if you compare that to Failer, who is on +2 laps of fuel, David Greco is 4 laps of fuel per lap quicker, which is
Danny is
about
in. FormulaDani has actually chosen to come in. Yeah, that's such a big risk, surely.
Well, I would have thought so, and they're not fuel saving either. I mean, David Greco's been on Rich for the last 2 laps, and Max pretty much the same as well.
Has he forgotten where his fuel switch is?
Well, I wouldn't have thought so. He does work for Codemasters.
FormulaDani then comes out of the pits on the super soft tyres. He comes out in 6th position with non-runner coming out also on super soft. He is going to be in 8th by the look of it. So let's see. Is he going to beat Svensson? Let's see. Yes, he will. And
just about.
F.Donoso is coming out on the soft tyres, so another runner on the softs then. He's in the Force India. And Seager and Riker Gordon have also come into the pits then. So the Force India comes out. He's going to be comfortably in 13th. So what started well for Fabrizio sadly has again kind of gone against him. And he's fallen down the order with Segro in the McLaren. It's coming out on ultra soft, so he's going for a short middle stint. And another set of softs then going on someone, that this time on the Ferrari of Rico Gordon. So the lead over to Topar, 11.8 seconds separates him and ACR Nobody. But of course we would expect to see Topar in pretty soon. He's at 3 laps. 3 laps heavy on fuel. My God, that's some... If you think about the fact that he was, not even half a dozen seconds down from FormulaDani. FormulaDani had...
He's in.
And he's coming in now. So he can really stick it in rich later on and just floor it. That's some incredible fuel saving.
Sorry, Kodiak. Compare that to David Greco. He's now on pretty much -3 laps of fuel. So, I mean, that's a huge difference.
That can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be right, surely.
Unless it's
bugged. Unless that display is bugged, because that just seems. You would know. Your race engineer would be screaming at you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how quickly you can fuel save on this game. I haven't done too much testing on it, so it'll be interesting if Greco loses pace, because he is super quick at the moment. I mean, FormulaDani's just a couple of seconds behind him, and he has already pitted onto those super soft compound tyres, but will almost definitely be pitting again. Will Greco and Max, will they be going on to the other strategy we've seen some drivers, which is soft tyres?
Svensson and then getting the fastest out with that 140.5. ACR Nobody leading the race, which I think would actually be the first of the season. I'm sure he's quite happy about that, with ACR Failer right behind him, both of them on the same strategy and similar amount of fuel. We lost Riker Gordon. Oh no, he's just come out of the pit. He stuck it in the wall just before turn 22. Oh, 3 wheels on the wagon again, which is pretty common here at Singapore. The walls do not forgive. Our first actual crash casualty of the night.
Yeah, he's going to be gutted. Riker Gordon, he hasn't had the best luck. That's probably partly why Ferrari haven't been able to do as well as they would have hoped, just because of their inconsistency. Rico is a super quick driver. He has got a couple of P8s and 7. So he is a quick driver. It's just getting the consistency. Nobody completes his 12th lap, and still leading on those super soft compound tyres.
FormulaDani shaping up for a move under DRS. Switches to the inside on David Greco. He's going to get that done before they get through turns 1, 2, and 3. Nicely done. Pretty straightforward then for FormulaDani. What's the fuel situation? Again, -3 laps. He's still in rich, apparently, according to this.
Yeah, I know. I mean, well, we'll see.
We will see. I mean, if he trundles to a halt, then we know that was correct. But if he suddenly starts using more fuel than he should have had on board, either he's got too big a fuel tank of that Williams, or I think it would be safe to say that display is not working as intended. But he's the only driver that is coming up for, so I would be surprised actually if that was the case. Just at the top of the shot there is Max AOC. He's having a pretty decent run in the Sauber, but just behind him, or 1.3 behind him, is Topar, looking to try and make up some time.
Yeah, Topar has a very heavy car at the moment with 4 laps. However, he's still decided to put his fuel onto lean. So whether he's going to whack that up to rich towards the end of the race and try and, make a difference to his lap time when he's on the, well, I assume probably the super soft compound tyres, but his car's going to be much lighter at that point.
Absolutely. So just seeing ATR Nobody disappear out of the shot then. So we should expect to be seeing these guys in the pits, I would think, before lap 20, looking at how long that the Ultrasofts have lasted for. Would you say that was... Oh, saw failure getting that tail very, very lively. Would you say that was fair before about lap 20?
I would almost be positive. Yeah, lap 20, I think they aren't going to be lasting much more than 15, so 15 to 20 is probably what we're looking at.
As Topar comes past Max then, coming into turn 1. Actually showed that the DRS wasn't open. I would be surprised if it wasn't.
I'm surprised Greco and Max have been able to go so far on the Ultrasoft. They still haven't pitted on lap 14.
Oh dear! Sven with a 3-second penalty. That would... If they finished now, he wouldn't lose that position, but not by much between himself and Tim. But as the race progresses, that could hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. Sven is, you know, like we said, he's in a big battle with Brendon. If he's only... Brendon even, if he's only picking up 1 point... well, Brendon's not going to be too disappointed about that, especially with his issues at the beginning of the race.
Well, indeed. Question in chat, how many drivers are on minus fuel? We've only spotted one so far on minus fuel.
Max is...
Max as well.
He's minus 2.5.
Oh, yes. Yeah, he is minus 2.5. And David Greco was the other, who's now on minus 3.6. So, yeah, his fuel mixture switch is definitely stuck on Rich, it would seem.
Yes, possibly. Hopefully that's not a technical issue.
That would be awkward.
Maybe the button on his steering wheel has broke.
Snapped! Yeah, that would be very
really
awkward.
Would not be good. Max is actually fuel saving, and he's doing it quite quickly. He's probably able to save about 0.3 of a lap per lap of fuel.
And that's another fastest lap then by FormulaDani. David Greco has now come into the pits. That's a stunning amount of time he's made those Ultrasoft last for.
When's he going to come out?
That is a good question. What is he going to get? Is that another set of Ultras for the Williams? No, is it?
Yeah,
it is.
I think it is. What an interesting strategy we are seeing here. I mean, he has let him... Well, he has to pit again because obviously otherwise he'd get disqualified. He was just inside the P10 before everyone pitted. He is now P12.
And now apparently on lean. Are you seeing that his fuel mixture is now on lean?
Yes, he is now on lean. So maybe this is his strategy. What he's doing, he's going to compensate by being on the faster tyre, on the lean. Because I think we can safely assume most people are doing a 2-stop, apart from maybe Brandon Marcel. Who may be able to make the 1-stop work for them. So he's probably just balancing out his fuel situation with his tyres. So I think Max will be okay. I think Max will probably just go on to the super softs because he is fuel saving in this stint.
It's risky though. I mean, especially how far minus fuel David Greco is. He's down in 12th, so that may really backfire on him as he's now got F.Donoso on his tail. I mean, he will regain some of it. Will he regain enough? Bear in mind, we are at halfway point in the race at this point. It's a lot of laps worth of fuel to reclaim, so to speak. Oh, FormulaDani is challenging for the lead. I've just realised the gap has absolutely plummeted. That is ATR Nobody ahead, who's been leading since the pit phase began. FormulaDani is looking to relieve him of that. Doesn't quite do so. Now Topar has got his toe down. Oh, he's got a bit of free air ahead of him. Fader has completely fallen off the back of this particular battle, which is a bit of a shame. There you just see him in the background of the shot. Topar actually missed what that lap was, 140.2. So that lap time now coming down. FormulaDani then, with DRS open, flies past ATR Nobody for the lead, but Topar is on a charge.
Yeah, and Nobody's done a pretty good job now. Nobody is pretty much the he's the guinea pig for everyone. Oh, car in a grade with a penalty. He's a guinea pig because he hasn't pitted yet. So that's very useful information to the people ahead of him and behind him on those super soft tyres.
We've got the helicam shot here, but all that's really going to see is FormulaDani just absolutely sprinting away from ATR Nobody. As as we mentioned before, we expect really Nobody to be in, even though on my screen it says pit window 9 to 14. That's rather gone by, so would expect to see ATR Nobody in within the next few laps. Topar now challenging ATR Failure. for that podium spot, and Topar is going to want to get past that Sauber pretty damn quick. If he's got that much pace, he needs to be careful not to burn too much out of his tires. He's still running lean. He's still running lean and still setting fastest laps. He's got 5 laps worth of excess fuel.
That's strange. He's doing the opposite of Greco.
He is, yeah, absolutely, and it seems to be paying off more for Topar than it is for David Greco at the moment.
Yeah, well, I'm just doing a quick calculation. I've been on board with Max, and I'm just going to tell you how much lean will save you.
Oh, Topar, my God, you've got the stones today, my friend. He did an inside move on the final turn, 23, as Failer ran wide. Wow, some drivers may have gotten nervous and braked at that point. And he was like, nope, stick your foot down, and it's paid off. Topar now up to 3rd.
Yeah, so by the looks of it, you save 0.3.
Tim's got a puncture. Tim has got a puncture. Just see him falling through the field and bouncing along the road. Tim, oh no, his race is ruined.
So, the fire's rudely interrupted.
Apologies, sir. I want a new wing as well. Oh no, Tim. Can it go any more wrong?
I don't think it can at this point. As his car drives out the garage, I imagine he wanted to park the car in the garage.
Yeah, just leave it there, guys. It's fine.
Yeah. So, I did a quick calculation. You can save 0.32 litres of fuel on lean for this round this track, and it will take David Greco currently 10 laps to recoup his current 3 laps of minus fuel, which he is doing. So. It's going to be marginal-ish. 27 is really what he's looking at, and Ben here probably turn up a wick again.
It's generally good to have a little bit of excess in the tank. I mean, we've seen it before where people have run out of fuel from exiting the last corner and have lost a position as a result of that. Already, Topar is on ATR Nobody's case. ATR Nobody is coming in though. So lap 18, so I was nearly right with my prediction on when the Supersoft starters would come in. So Topar now up to 2nd. He's got 5.7 to close down on Formula Dani as Fab Racing gets another penalty. Ultra soft for ATR Nobody. Interesting. 1.6 worth of fuel. Go on.
No, sorry to interrupt, but Max has somehow managed to do 17 laps on these ultra soft tyres, and from lap 5 to lap now, his pace has only gone down by a second. So he's really able to make it work. He's just been overtaken by a non-runner, but P6 is very respectable. He is definitely and somehow doing a one-stop round here.
Well, that's as Carl Renegade comes into the pits again. He's swapping off of those ultra softs. I guess a setup difference and driving style difference can make these tyres work better for some rather than others. I would imagine surely you would just want to bang on as much wing as you possibly could, wouldn't you?
I would have. Yeah, well, round here, yeah, you pretty much. I mean, he might be running like 9 rather than 11 at the front, but I would have thought he's probably running the top end of that. His tyres look completely shot, unless, which is possible, he's running super softs and we just haven't seen the difference. So that's the other possibility.
Another thing to look at then, Marcel Kiefer running the soft tyres is up to 4th, challenging, nearly pushing ACR Failer on the load. Now, we haven't seen Failer come in, so it's fair assumption that he has not been in the pits. And look at that, Marcel Kiefer did absolutely determined to get through, and there we go. Failer then committing to the pit entry line. Marcel Kiefer then up to 3rd on the soft tyres, and it's a fair guess that he is going to go to the end. Brendon Leigh has just lost a position actually on those soft tyres too. ACR Nobody's come out on those ultra softs, so that's not really a surprise. So that Red Bull, so the 2 Red Bulls close to one another, but the purple shot one actually looked like he was trying to warm his tyres. Was very, very curious if that was the case. Now, what is Failer getting on his car? A set of ultra softs for ACR Failer then, as he's just slipped down to 10th. Is he going to come out? Nope. That's Fab Race has just gone through the shot there. And out he comes in 11th, but on a fresh set of very sticky rubber.
Yeah, so Wycombs has just mentioned in chat a former racer in this season. Unfortunately, he has had to remove himself due to issues. But he said the thing with Max may very well be showing the wrong compound, like I think he said in Spa. Also, someone was talking about AOR and joining for next season. If you want to join Apex Online Racing, the website is www.apexonlineracing.com, and then you can find out all the information. And it's not just F1, we do project cars, Forza, and a whole host of other racing games and non-racing games, so join in on the action.
I can also confirm that it is only 3 W's in the URL. Right.
Did I say 4?
Well, you said about 6, but never mind.
I restarted the sentence. Yeah, okay, whatever. You're so funny.
But exactly as Hamish says, if you wanted to get involved, you may have crazy people like myself and Hamish talking about your exploits on track. Yep, we've got F1 2017, we have Project Cars, we have Assetto Corsa, Forza, and R Factor 2 was recently started, so plenty of games to suit plenty of appetizers. Max comes in with it for Sauber.
Finally.
Yeah, absolutely stunning effort then for Max. Now, if he's got if the game is telling us slightly different, I wonder what colour comes off the car. We've seen it change before. They are staying as purple. Although there's mysteriously red tyres in there. I suspect they were actually super softs he was on. So he comes out on soft tyres, interestingly. That I didn't expect.
Well, he should...
Super softs would have lasted, wouldn't they?
I would have thought so. Well, ultra softs I would have thought would have lasted.
With what we've seen,
some of the drivers who have already raced, and his car's much lighter, which does make a big difference. So, Tim's got a penalty. His day is going from bad to worse. He's in P2 in the championship, and his contender is in P1.
Yeah, with the next contender in P2. So that is the worst possible outcome for Tim then. So let's run through try that again. Let's run through where everybody is at the moment. FormulaDani in the house leads by 5.5 seconds over Topar. Topar's got a stunning amount of fuel on board. He can stick it in rich in about 5 laps time and leave it there, whereas FormulaDani does not have that luxury. Marcel Kiefer in the second Haas, 10.1 down from Topar on the soft tyres. He's pretty much running his own race there. Non-runner in the Renault. Season best result for him if he is managing to hang on to that position on the super soft tyres. 3.5 seconds down from Marcel, and Sven is in again. Oh, has he burned the best out of those super softs, I wonder? It is possible. I mean, as Hamish mentioned earlier, we are expecting a 2-stop race today. So would that be his second?
He's going on to ultras, so possibly.
Yeah, I think that's his second stop. So that's going to drop him down to. He's probably going to beat Max out. Just see Max at the back of the shot. So yes,
just about though. Yeah, you're right. He is going to beat Max out. Not by too much. Max is
there he is.
Close. David Greco's now on a level playing field with everyone else. I mean, Sven was obviously above him just a lap ago, but he's in P7. He's got some pretty good tyres. Everyone around him, I imagine, has to stop again, apart from maybe Marcel Kiefer. It could be pretty exciting, and he's right behind Brendon Leigh as well.
Brendon Leigh!
I know. I don't want to correct it because I'd already finished the sentence.
You know as soon as you commit, don't you, when it's gone awry. So yeah, David Greco's having a stunning effort on his debut. Bear in mind, he let's see what the position change is. There it is. So he is actually up 5 positions from his original qualifying. So he's having a pretty good run in the Williams. Brendon Leigh, however, can't have the same said about him. Started in second, is down in 6th, and he's got, I say, that ultra soft shod Williams all over his diffuser. ACR Nobody.
Go on.
I was going to say ACR Nobody is on his own as well. 8.3 down from almost equidistant actually. 8.2 down from non-runner. 7 seconds between himself and Brendon Leigh, with David Greco on Brendan's tail, as we know. Failer, who's not long come through the pits, and we saw, actually was watching him when he did that, just took a little bit too much curb on 22. So easy to do. You're more concentrating on not running wide than where your positioning is on the apex, so that just caused him a penalty there. ACR fat. Go on.
Sorry, Greco is probably, you might want to have a look at him, because I think he's going to try and move in Brendon Leigh, although he's not using DRS, or at least it doesn't look like it.
Well, DRS can fail. We have seen that before, and I would say looking at...
Wow, solid move.
Brendon would not be happy about that. That was from a very long way back. But again, the overtaking opportunities are not plentiful here in Singapore. You have got to kind of make them yourself. Brendon may not be too pleased. Did look like there was a little bit of impact. I would say Brendon did avoid going into the wall, so he may just be slightly disgruntled he's lost a position. But what a move by David Greco.
That's solid. I mean, it looked like Brendon literally just jumped out his way. It doesn't look like there was ever going to be contact, because I think David just pretty much gave him no choice.
Absolutely, yeah. And you see ACR failure. There he is in the Sauber. Whoa, sliding that car through. Lost track of corners again. There was 18 at the point he was sliding sideways. Look at that. He's really closing in. He's already under a second now towards Brendon Leigh. So I wonder if Brendon's got a problem. Now, what's Brendon's fuel situation like? 1.6, so it's not something he'd have to fuel save for drastically. But then failure is on the ultra softs against the soft shod Red Bull, and those softs have been on there quite a while. So this looks like it's going to be a... No, he's not going to get that done before turn one. Sven Cerner now 139 dead in ninth position in the Renault. He's pushing on again. He's got 6 seconds to gain to get to this particular point, but he's certainly showing the pace to do it.
Yeah, Topar and FormulaDani. Now, I know the gap looks quite significant at the moment, which is 5 seconds, well, 5.5 seconds. Although Topar has had the pace on Danny over the last 10 laps since they pitted. 10 laps? No, 8 laps since they've pitted. He's been about 0.2 a lap faster, so it'll be interesting to see how close they will be towards the, well, on lap 31.
Tim gets some ultra softs on, so he's going for the fastest lap. He was unhappy that Sven nicked the fastest lap from him. He's wanting something to take away from this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? I mean, you know, if you're in last, then, you know,
you need something to do.
Yeah. I see Fab Racer, though. He and Max are in a good scrap for a championship point. They've got Car Renegade 10 seconds behind him, so I would imagine they're not going to have any issues. Fab Racers did a little bit of weaving there,
yeah,
quite cheeky. That. Max up the inside, not able to make the move stick. You can really go wide on that corner. And will Max... Oh, he almost had the advantage, but Fab Racer defended well. Fab Racer, obviously, he was P2, I believe, in the F1 Esports. He is now on P10 in AOR.
And Max looking to demote him from that as well. And Fab Racer is running very, very close to the mark on the fuel as well. As another fastest lap by Sven. He takes another 10, well, half a tenth off of his previous fastest lap. Then now Max is going to have a look with DRS down the inside into turn one. Fab Racer's having none of that, and Fab Racer had to take avoiding action there, and he had no choice. He had to let Max through, but he's probably going to have a few words to say about that one.
Yeah, he doesn't go into one in that corner, and I've just seen a comment in the chat saying about I reckon Hamish can hear. I reckon he can hear Hamish calling him Brandon all the time, and he's losing it. I wouldn't be too surprised. He probably is. However, maybe you could flip that around. That might be extra motivation for Brandon to go a bit quicker.
You had to do it. You had to do it.
I did, didn't I? Although he's got Sven right on the tail, on his tail. Is there going to be contact this time around? We'll find out very, very soon as I come up towards turn 14.
We saw Brendon actually jump out of Failer's way a couple of laps ago. Outside, and he's overshot it. Yeah. Brendon was not...
Oh, alright.
Oh,
no, it doesn't matter.
That's going to be... Oh, that was well timed then by Sven to rejoin. I mean, to be fair, Brendon had the right to take the inside line. It's just Sven outbraked himself and shot off down the exit road and has lost a whole bundle of time as a result of it. He's now behind Max in that... well, Max now elevated to 9th position as a result of that. I would imagine that Sven will dispatch off the Sauber pretty quickly on those ultra soft tyres. He nearly bounces off the wall. Yeah, I think that was firm but fair from Brendon, I would say.
Yeah, David Greco apparently started on the super softs, on the soft compounds, and went on to the super softs, according to the race director. He's got Failer very close behind him for cover.
Yeah, that would explain how he went on so long on what we were being told with the ultra soft tyres. So that makes far more sense than what we previously thought. But yeah, he has had ATR failure for company for a while now. He's managed to fend him off. So fair play to the Williams. Is he going to be able to do so as we start to head towards the closing stages of the race? As you say, you see the tail twitching on the Williams, still running in lean, but he is down to less than a lap down. I mean, considering he was, what was he, 4 or 5 laps down? Tim now getting the fastest lap with that 38.4. I told you that's what he was going for. He didn't want to let Sven have it, so he's decided to strap on some ultra softs and get that fastest lap back.
Also, Kodiak, I believe Greco is on the super soft tyres, not the ultra soft tyres.
Makes sense.
So I think until we know any different, let's assume he is on the red mark tyres.
I would say that is a fair assumption indeed. As ACR, nobody has got himself a penalty. We've got trouble in Sector 2, but I'm not seeing anyone's gap drastically increase. We don't know what that issue was. So coming back up to this battle then for 6th position. Everyone else is fairly well spaced out between each car, except for this particular battle. DRS open on the Sauber. He's not able. David Greco had a great run through 22 and 23. And so that has enabled the Williams to stay ahead. Being asked what is Topar's fuel level. It is nearly 8 laps worth of fuel. Surely, bung it in, Rich, sir. Get on with it.
That is... I don't know what Topa's doing. That's very, very strange.
Unless that's inaccurate on our board here. As
possibly. The only thing I can think of is having your fuel on lean does save the rear tyres.
There could be that. Could be. I think someone managed actually that you run the risk of spinning. Tim. You do run the risk of spinning up the rear tyres, which of course increases your risk of the tail just smacking against the wall and you losing your suspension as a result.
So, interestingly, Failer and Greco, the fuel situation is that Failer has fuel to spare and Greco is saving fuel. So at the moment, I would say Failer is in the preferable position, although behind the driver he is trying to overtake. I wouldn't imagine any of these drivers are going to come into the pits again.
Unless it's for a wing change of some sort or puncture, as we have seen already. Only one puncture, which I'm partially surprised about. I did expect to see a few more tyres exploding, but still laps to go, so you never know. So yeah, I mean, even though Failure is in positive laps with the fuel, it's not by a lot, so he can't leave it enriched for too long. Again, look at the line David Greco has through 22, 23, lovely, and does manage to open up that gap. Again, enough to Failure to prevent Failure having a dive on the inside of turn 1.
Yeah, interestingly, the debate and the battle between the 1 and 2 stop, it looks like the 1 stop's been faster on this particular day. The leader, of course, Danny, all the way down to P8, Brendon Leigh, have been on a 1 stop, and from Sven down to, Fab Racer or Timp have been on a 2 stop. So yeah, it looks like the 2 stop was the way to go.
Brendon and Sven are swapping position again. Crikey, Sven closed that gap back down pretty quick. Oh, so yes, Svendon did. Svendon, good grief. Oh dear, mixing up the two. Neither of them will be particularly happy I've just done that, I imagine. Brendon then with a Sven just threw it on the inside of, I think it was might have actually been turn 14 where that occurred. So now the Renault ahead of the Red Bull, where I suspect he will stay.
Yeah, we will be asking that question too, Topar, about what we're talking about with fuel, because it is an interesting topic around this particular track. But Sven would have also had to have overtaken Max. Remember, a few laps ago, Max was in P9. So now Max is going to, well, he is obviously in the back of Brendon Leigh, but will he be able to take P9 and gain himself an extra couple of points? That would be nice for Max, because he hasn't had the most consistent races. He was very consistent in the mid-season, and he sort of started to go off a bit in the last couple of rounds. Indeed, we will see. I wondered if Max was going to run a little bit too wide on the exit of 22 there. We'll see what. He's looked like he wasn't using DRS there on the way down to 1.
But again, sort of keeping an eye on this battle here as well. This is still Failer and David Greco. Failer now with DRS wide open, heading on that long straight down towards turn 7. Has a look on the inside, but again, he's not close enough to do it.
Yeah, so it looks like David Greco is definitely using his experience of sim racing to his advantage over Failer here. Oh, Failer's just hit the wall really hard. I think he's actually lost a part of his front wings, so that can't be good. Fabrace has got himself a penalty, whereas here it doesn't really matter. He's in 13th anyway.
13th, yeah. I just looked away from Failer actually to keep an eye on where Max was, and Max was side by side with Brendon Leigh for 9th position, just to the point he bounced off the wall. Whoa! Whoa! Stunning move there by Max.
Come back.
Yeah, he couldn't get the traction when he needed, but that was brave. Threw it on the inside of 13. Brendon now defending the inside line from the...
Well, hold on, Mac.
He's got the traction, and he's got the move down, but can he get it? No! Oh,
side still. Wow, as they come to this very tight last sector. What a move from Max. Some fantastic racing from both those drivers.
Wow, a stunning effort there by Max. He was not prepared to let that one go. He was fighting that one tooth and nail. He now has that 9th position, and now he has to get away from Brendon, who's got DRS open now. Let's see if Brendon's able to do anything about it. No, he's way too far back to try and move on the Sauber. Let's see if Max is able to pull away.
Well, I would have thought so. It did look like, well, Max must have caught up with Brendon, because so did Sven. So I don't know why Brendon's pace has been particularly slow around here. Very unlike him. He is normally ultra quick anywhere we go, and his quali pace was super quick as well. So whether he just hasn't felt the setup, or he hasn't been able to be on top of the tyre temps, I'm not sure. If he comes in and has a chat with us after, he might enlighten us in that particular thing. Greco has also opened a couple of seconds over Failer. In fact, I think Failer must have had a bit of an issue, because
he's falling back
right behind him. So this is a fantastic recovery drive from Sven after he locked up at turn 14 a few laps ago.
Indeed. I wouldn't be at all surprised if there was damage on Failer's car as a result of that impact with the wall.
Sven has a penalty, remember, as well.
True, that he does. ATR Nobody is actually getting within DRS range of non-runner as well, and I'm watching the gap between Topar and FormulaDani. It is dropping. It's 4 seconds with 2 laps to go. If he's stuck in it, he's still in lean apparently. 9 laps with the field. It's got to be a tyre saving measure for Topar. It's got to be. There's no other reason.
That's so strange. I would just underfueled the car and then just ran lean for the entire race or something like that. Just seems very odd that he's, because that's a huge gap. I mean, 10 laps of fuel is a massive amount of time. I mean, that's the best part of half a second plus a lap.
He is actually closing in on FormulaDani, but it won't be enough at that race, at that pace. As Sven Cerner did a lovely passing manoeuvre on the inside of 23 as Failer went wide, so assumedly with damage to his car.
Yes, a little bit.
So 7th position to Sven Cerner. Can he close that 2 seconds down the remaining 2 laps to David Greco? We will see. ATR Nobody is really closing in on non-runner as well. Non-runner's been in that 4th position for quite a long time. He will want to hang on to that to really get some decent points on the board for the Renault team. Let's see what they... Yeah, it's Renault's... The Red Bull is a little bit too far back from the Renault at the moment to do anything about it from there. Little bit of a lock-up then. I would imagine those Ultra Softs are pretty dead on the Red Bull, but he's pushing like crazy nonetheless. Topar... Go on.
No, I was just going to say, it's interesting how Sven, who was at one point in P11, is able to use his 2-stop fresher tyres to really punch his way through the field. I mean, he's now looking at a move on David Greco, and although he's unlike... Oh, you might want to focus on FormulaDani if he's not come to the line yet. But you know, he's really able to use his stars to his advantage.
Oh,
but he has
no!
got, another 3-second penalty. That's going to absolutely kill him.
Yeah.
That means Failer and maybe even Max might overtake him.
Oh, problem set to 3. It's F.Donoso's overcooked it. Oh dear, his race really can't get any worse. But let's jump up to FormulaDani, who has, well, he's been today's Topar, hasn't he? Topar's been in a league of his own for the last 3 races. Now that form switches over to the Haas as he is traversing for the final time through turn 13. Long straight, but I don't want to keep it away from this battle for too long. It's for 4th, that's ATR Nobody and Non-Runner. He's determined to try and do something. He's been closing that. Oh, he's so close to the line on fuel, which they all will be at this point, but he's got to keep an eye on that. He's very, very close to running out of fuel. And Topar has been wheeling that gap in. Oh, Fab Racer again. He's down in 13th. He really doesn't care at this point. But with spectacular form, your winner here in Marina Bay in Singapore is the Haas of FormulaDani. Very closely by what's been a great drive by Topar to come home in second. Marcel Kiefer, we've not seen him for quite a while through no fault of his own. He's just been in, well, time-wise, no man's land. 7 seconds.
Look at this race with nobody in Non-Runner. They're so close coming towards the line. Going past the fireworks, hasn't put any of the drivers off, and very solid race from both of those. I don't think nobody had Non-Runner had a penalty.
Yeah, David Greco's got Sven Cerner on his tail, but Sven, as we know, has got those penalties, and David Greco did manage to fend him off, and comes across the line in 6th position. Sven, I would imagine, is going to be... Oh no, he didn't get demoted just 1.3 seconds. I think Failer must have had penalties of his own. Max crosses the line 9. Brendon Leigh limps across the line in 10th position. Car Renegade has had a torrid race. We saw him start well, but just descend through the order pretty early on. Segro, one of the first to pit. Sadly, still got some distance to cover in the McLaren. Is on his own, absolutely entirely, with the fireworks going off over his head. He'll be probably glad to get this race over and done with. There he is then. 12th position for him. Fab Racer again with a torrid run in the Force India. Did he still have the fastest lap? He did. And tried to throw it into the wall. And did manage to throw it into the wall. For 13th position. The only one left on. What a shame. You don't expect to see Timp down in 14th position. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong for Timp. He will rue this. If he loses the championship, he will point the finger very fairly at this particular race, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought.
He's not even crossing the line then.
He's 33 points behind Danny now for the championship. He's getting something for his worth. As everybody's leaving the session, I think we actually lost the host, which is why everyone is deemed to be leaving the session. Tim doesn't care. He'll be at 14th whether he actually crosses the line or not. Wow. Interestingly, what Tim has done for us, it means Tim and Topar are just 2 points between them now. So that's going to be really exciting. Topar was catching Danny so fast towards the end of it as well.
Because the host was migrating, I think, Tim actually jumped up to first briefly.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, right. He would wish that was a reality. It looks like we have Tim and Danny to talk to us at the moment.
Lovely. I think the final standing screen is going to be a little bit skewed because everyone has left the service. So it's going to be... Yeah, you can actually see it's Grosjean, Bottas and K-Mag there on the...
Yeah, I can't read that out, Cody.
Yeah, I think this is just going to be... yeah, there you go. It's... Oh, David Greco was still there. So, but the positions were as you saw them. Fab Racer was still in. He managed to get himself 5 penalties in the end for his day's racing. So let's switch over then to who wants to talk to us. This is going to be fabulous.
We have Brendon Leigh, Timp, and FormulaDani coming to join us.
But I recorded
tonight discussion, and they've and here they are.
I think we might have interrupted a discussion between them. Apologies there, gentlemen. Right, and as Brenda's jumped back out of the box again, we will talk to. There's Topar as well. We'll have a word with him. Right then, over to our race winner, Danny. Wow. That was a stunning performance. We didn't look at you for a great deal because you just ran off into the distance and you looked like you were pretty unchallenged. How was that for you?
I'm very, very happy. Sorry, I forgot to speak. it's a strengthening race, and I'm very happy for the victory because it's a key victory for the championship as well. I think it's my 4th victory in the season, and now I equal Topa, so it's also a nice thing mentally. I was very happy after I could nail a 1:36.0 for quali, because my personal best was a 35.9. So being just 1/10 of your personal best is always nice in the race. And yes, after the start of the race was a key moment where I think I get delayed again and again because I looked to my videos in details, and I feel like I always get the starts a little bit later, and I don't know why. It's maybe because of my internet connection, but again, I didn't have any wheel spin, at least in my view, and Brendon was on side by side of me, but I knew that there is some track pace, and I wanted to keep there because I didn't want to lose position again. And after running to the first corner of the second sector, I broke very late. Somebody pushed me a little bit wide, but I could keep the car there, and the next corner was a right-hander, so I had the inside line, and I was a little bit lucky as well. I tried to do anything to save my position, but also I tried to be fair as well, and I think I always left door for cars side by side of me. I have the video recording, I will upload it, and I think that was the key moment. From then, I just spit 1 lap later than compared to Marseki, because I didn't want anyone to undercut me, and from then I just went on my own pace, and it was an excellent feeling for me.
Awesome stuff. Right, Timp, well, what happened to you? Well, everything that could have happened to you looked like it did happen to you, in a negative sense as opposed to a positive one this time.
Well, yeah, it's kind of disappointing to get a race ruined by someone else's mistake, but yeah, I didn't have to pace anyways, but like still it's kind of disappointing that yeah, I mean I didn't even get the fastest lap what I tried, but yeah, that race was, I mean qualifying was good, like I surprised myself. I didn't have no clue about up top 6, that was yeah, that was a decent lap, and like first 2 laps was decent. I was able to keep up with the top guys, and at that moment I was like, let's see what can I do, something interesting tactic and maybe win, or like I don't know, like with softs or something like that. But like yeah, then that Brendon and Sven accident happened, and yeah, it was out of my hands. Kind of unfortunate. Yeah, and then also in mid race I lost my wing because I just was pushing so much. But yeah, no, yeah, I guess championship is over now, but for me, but yeah.
Well,
for Danny,
you never know.
Not quite.
You never know.
I mean,
It's
there is like no way I can beat the band Danny. Those two are just so fast. But of course I'm gonna try my best, but it's not looking likely.
Yeah, all it takes is one of the front runners to have their fair share of incidents, and the whole championship is shuffled up again. So never say never, as they say. Well, over to Brendon then. That was pretty eventful. I'm assuming you kind of limped pretty much all race long. We saw you get absolutely crushed in between 2 cars early on. Is it fair to say you were just limping for the rest of the race? I know Brendon occasionally has microphone problems. Are you able to respond, Brendon?
Okay, it looks like we will have to continue talking to.
We'll come back to Brendon indeed. Topa, well. Now, one question that pretty much everybody, ourselves included, and certainly in chat: how on earth were you able, or how and why did you have so much fuel spare at the end, and yet you were still damn quick and ended up in second? How and why?
Yeah, I heard about that. It was a bug. I didn't have any fuel left in the end.
Because on our screen you had nearly 9 laps worth of fuel.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, it was just a bug.
Okay, well that at least puts that one to rest. How confident were you coming into this race? This is obviously quite a very different race. Much it is your Monaco type of race. Were you confident coming into this one? You were going to do well, maybe continue your winning streak?
No, I wasn't confident at all. Already, I just tried to take some good points, and it happened. So I'm quite happy.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. We have also got Marcel Kiefer is in the chat, although your microphone is muted, Marcel. There we go. You are now with us. Right, Marcel, what a great start to the championship. I say start of the championship. You've joined us obviously quite late in the season, but you've had some pretty decent results and getting on the podium this time around. How was that for you?
Hello, do you hear me?
Hello, yes, we can hear you.
Alright, good. Felt pretty good. I mean, it wasn't the podium that I wanted, because I wanted a battle with Brendon, Sven, and all these guys. But I will take it.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, in all fairness, if you were battling with Sven and Brendon, you wouldn't have been on the podium, as they had their fair share of issues as well.
This might be the truth. I was quite lucky with the first incident, and yeah, but I'm just happy to be here. I hope to improve for the upcoming races. I'm looking forward, especially to Japan, and yeah.
So, I mean, was Singapore a track you were looking forward to?
No.
It tends to be very
Singapore.
It tends to be a very divisive track. Either you tend to have the drivers that really love it or absolutely hate it. Is it on the hater end of the scale for you?
It's a mediocre thing for me. I like it on one way, but on the other way, it's just track that I want to do all the time. I also just procrastinated every single time when I thought about hitting this track. So yes, this week I needed to do it. It was a challenge, but it made fun. So Malaysia is the same for me, but maybe a next podium is in there if it was like this today.
And coming back to Brendon, are you able to talk to us, Brendon? Nope, unfortunately Brendon has not been able to sort his microphone out. We are going to have to wrap it up there, unless Hamish, you have anything to add? Oh, no, everyone's actually legged it. So whether you had anything to add or not, Hamish, it's now irrelevant, as is just us. So it just leaves me to thank you, Mr. Hamish, for joining me in the commentary box. As always, a great pleasure.
You're welcome.
Thank you to those that have been with us throughout the stream. It is a great pleasure to have you with us. Like we mentioned before, if you wanted to get involved, head over to apexonlineracing.com, sign up, get involved. You may have lunatics like myself and Hamish shouting about your antics on track. And thank you to our drivers for putting on a great show as per always. And we will see you guys right back here for more AOR action. Thank you very much, and good night.